Royals baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. We are on the edge of October, and it feels that way in Chicago tonight. It is a cool one as the Royals resume a 3-game series with the White Sox. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Rex Sudler. I'm Ryan Lefevre. Interesting, after the game last night, Ned Yost was asked, is he getting any closer to feeling like he needs to shake something up to get the team going? And Ned said maybe, which is big for him. And sure enough, he's made some changes in the lineup.
That's right. He put Escobar back up at the top, and because of the winning percentage, the fact that they win games, the numbers may not match up, but that's all that matters. This late in the season, last week, they're looking for wins.
And a bright spot for the Royals lately, their pitching has gotten better. Their defense looks like the defense in the first half. Tonight, Edinson Volquez will make the start for the Royals, going up against Jose Quintana, who didn't beat the Royals until his last start. That was his 17th try to beat the Royals, and now his ERA is 1 over his last 4 starts. So the Royals need to get back on track offensively to beat Quintana, and the guys to lead the way will be our most trusted players, brought to you by the most trusted brand, Honda.
Yeah, Quintana, even in his losses against the Royals, he's always pitched them well. So it's going to be interesting to see how they can adjust. But they had good numbers. The offense did against Samardzija last night, starting pitcher for the White Sox, and he executed his pitches. So look, just because some Royals have some good numbers now against Quintana doesn't necessarily mean a win, but they've got to find a way to spray that ball around and find some holes and beat the White Sox.
Boy, defense was the name of the game last night. For both teams, the White Sox made 2 back-breaking plays against the Royals offense to take Game 1 4-2. Joel and Monty are coming up next.
Finished into the wee hours of the morning. The celebration began. One of the greatest games in Royals and baseball history. And now the Royals slumping here in September, trying to get some of that magic back. Welcome back to U.S. Cellular Field, where there are less blue and more green in the stands. Looks like a lot of Royals fans went home, and a lot of FDC's. Joe Goldberg, Royals Hall of Famer Jeff Montgomery. Let's talk bullpen. It's been a balancing act for Ned Yost. You want home field advantage. You also want a fresh bullpen.
Right, and I talked with Dave Island, the pitching coach, about this actually a couple weeks ago before this team had clinched the American League Central Division, and he said ideally you're going to let a guy pitch, give him a day, maybe 2 days off, and then bring him back. You want to have a real fine balance between amount of work, keeping guys sharp, and not overusing them, particularly making sure everybody's arm is good and strong, really fresh going into the postseason starting next week.
I guess if you're going down to the wire and it's a matter of getting in or not getting in, you go all out. But Ned Yost, Dave Island and company want that fresh bullpen. They'd love to see Edinson Volquez have a great final start. First pitch from Chicago is coming up next.
Gets back to schools across Missouri, so play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. And by your Kansas City Chevy dealers. Visit your local Chevy dealers today for great prices on all the new 2015 vehicles. It is a cool night, a cool and windy night, as it was last night. And the final score was 4-2. The Royals were able to cut through the wind a couple of times with home runs from Eric Hosmer and Kendrys Morales, but otherwise not a big offensive night. It was a big defensive night. And here's the change we were talking about at the top of the broadcast. And Ned Yost was saying before the game that while the numbers may tell you that Alcides Escobar is not a prototypical leadoff hitter, for whatever reason, when he's there, the Royals win.
That's what Ned's trying to find. He's trying to find that magic again that he had at the end of last season when Escobar helped his team get to the World Series. And that's what they're looking for now. See if he can get on base and provides a little bit more RBI power at the bottom of the lineup with Salvi and Gordon down there.
Facing Jose Quintana, who is just 1-6 in his career against the Royals. He did beat the Royals the last time he faced them on September 5th, and that was the first time in 17 starts that he defeated the Royals. And he is pitching very well over his last 4 starts. Here the Royals, or the White Sox rather, defensively, and TRAYCE Thompson, who made that great catch last night, will shift from left field to right. Melky Cabrera will be in left, and Mike Olt, who came into the game late and made an outstanding play, he will start tonight at third. And Tyler Flowers is behind the plate. Those are changes from last night. And Escobar, per his trademark, swings to the first pitch of the game. Esky batted 9th last night. He was 1 for 4. And in doing so, extended his hitting streak to 7 games.
Keep it away from Thompson and Wright. Wow. Those 2 plays they made saved 2 runs, and that was a win. See that curveball there? He's been a lot more comfortable with it. He's got really good stuff in command. Changes speeds, does a good job of keeping it down. He'll also elevate at times with this 4-seam fastball. There's Thompson ready for any ball hit to him. This young man, he's fearless, and he's had a lot of bad luck. You know, we've talked about he just now got his first win against the Royals, but he's pitched them tough, and he hasn't gotten many runs of support. That's the bad luck side.
Pulled foul, and it's still 1-2. So it's the right time to put Escobar back in the leadoff spot. His on-base percentage was .260 when Ned Yost moved him out of that spot. And he chased the curveball and strikes out.
Curveball's going to be his go-to pitch. But he's got a good changeup he likes, but that fastball curveball combination is one that he uses pretty well too. Curveball is only hitting 191 off of that pitch. His changeup, when it's elevated, can get hit, like we witnessed last night with Cueto elevating a changeup to Adam Eaton.
And now a strike to Ben Zobrist. Zobrist is hitless in his last 12 at-bats. We're going to try and get him with a pitch up. And he hits it foul off to the first base side. That'll drop on the track. And it's 0-2. Ned Yost has mostly batted Zobrist second since the trade with the A's, and then used him for a few games in the leadoff spot. But this is really the spot that they had in mind when they got him in the trade. Hit in the air to center field. And there's Adam Eaton for the second out.
Hey, Quintana, he's not a guy that's going to throw you 5 fastballs in a certain at-bat. So he's a guy who has success in mixing them, but his curveball's been his best pitch. He's got 24 quality starts this year. This guy is one of the best pitchers in the American League.
Hit hard to center field, but Eaton is there. So 9 pitches is all Quintana needs to get to the Royals in the first inning. Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces serving around the world on land and on ships at sea. And from the south side of Chicago, we say to you, welcome.
Yes, and thank you for your protection.
All right, here are the White Sox tonight, beginning with Adam Eaton, who has 14 home runs. And he hit a 2-run home run last night. That was the difference in the game. Although the White Sox are tied for last in the American League in that category. And they'll be facing Edinson Volquez for the 5th time this year. Volquez tonight, as soon as he throws a pitch, will make start number 33 official, and that is a new career high for him. And he's inside, ball 1 to Adam Eaton. Volquez is the Royals team leader in wins, starts, innings, strikeouts, and quality starts.
Yep, 3 out of his last 4 have been quality, and that's what Ned Yost is hoping for in his last tune-up before postseason. He's got some excellent stuff when his pitches move down the zone. Really been good when runners get out there. He's sometimes can get himself into trouble, but he wiggles his way out.
That's well hit. Deep into left center field, and there's Kane right at the wall. Well, Adam Eaton, who had never hit more than 3 home runs in a major league season, was taking a shot at his 15th.
Yeah, and Robin Ventura, his manager before the game, was telling me when I asked him about the home run production out of Eaton, he said, you know what? You put him in a home run contest, and he might win it. Well, you know, he sees these guys take batting practice every single day, but he got a pitch up, went to the opposite field, wind blowing again out that way, but Lorenzo Kane, very trustworthy.
Some guys just have that swing. Jose Abreu has hit 29 home runs and driven in 98. 2 other guys come to mind that I used to hear about were the same way, that if Wade Boggs wanted to, he could win a home run contest, but that just wasn't his game. And Ichiro Suzuki was the same. Ichiro Suzuki, every now and then in his prime, in one round of batting practice, might hit 7 or 8 in a row.
I remember when he was with the Seattle Mariners, watching him take batting practice. It was impressive. Sometimes a hitter will take one whole round and just see how far he can hit it. And for that little guy, he had monster power when he wanted to.
2-2 on Jose Abreu.
This guy right here is a phenomenal hitter. It's just his 2nd year, and he's putting up some great numbers, but he's really strong going to the opposite field for power.
Jam badly. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
He's one of those guys that's going to go up and try to have a natural pull swing. He uses the whole field.
He got an RBI last night, so now 1 home run and 2 RBIs to join Albert Pujols as the only 2 players with 30 home runs and 100 RBIs in their first 2 big league seasons. Pujols did it back in 2001 and 2002. It's pulled foul.
Edinson Volquez, fastball, 2-seam and 4-seam fastball. Gives him 4, curveball and changeup. The curve's nice. It has a good finish when he's on top of it. Good downward action. The changeup similar. Goes into righties and away to lefties. There's some 96 for that fastball there. Thought he could get it by him again. He did earlier in the at-bat, but this is the 8th pitch. 9th coming.
By the way, I looked it up. Mentioned Abreu and Pujols. Abreu on his way. 30 home runs, 100 RBIs in his first 2 seasons. Pujols went on to do that 10 consecutive years. And in that 10th year, he had 99 RBIs. In the 11th year, almost made it 11 in a row.
Well, that's sick right there.
Wow.
That's incredible. Now, if you mention that to Abreu, I'm sure he would go, oh, man, I'll never do that.
Here are the Royals defensively tonight, presented by Ford.
Good to see a healthy Lorenzo Cain this summer.
1-2 Melky Cabrera batting third while Abreu is batting second. Cabrera was 1 for 4 last night with a single. Cabrera is on with 2 outs.
Okay, I had a little talk with Melky before the game tonight about why he holds his hands out. And that's because he told me
why he hugs first baseman. Sorry, I'll let you finish.
No, I asked him about that too. He said he's happy, but he wanted to talk about why he holds his hands out like that. He's imitating Joe McEwen, the third base coach, with the number of outs. So he'll either go 1, he'll go 2, or no outs. That's what he does.
Okay.
But then when I asked him about when it comes to hugging guys, he says I'm happy, and he didn't want to talk about that.
I would venture to say he's probably the only happy guy about that. 0-2 on Trace Thompson facing Edinson Volquez. This is a pitcher he will never forget, as Thompson got his first big league hit against Volquez back on August the 7th. That was in Kansas City. It was an infield single. And now an outfield single. So with 2 outs, back-to-back hits. And the White Sox are getting good swings. They have a fly out to deep center, a line out to second, and now back-to-back hits.
Well, if you want to know why this young rookie's hit cleanup, it's because he's a pull hitter. Robin likes guys that can go up and pull the ball out of the ballpark. And he's had the darndest of time trying to get his White Sox to hit home runs this year. They had a home run team on paper, but it just hadn't happened. Both the Royals and the White Sox tied with 135 home runs each as a team.
Alexei Ramirez takes high and away. Ramirez drove in a run in the 8th inning, turning a 3-2 game into a 4-2 game. Two and 0.
Alexei is 1 for 9 against Volquez.
Base hit. Alex gets it on a hop, and they're going to have to hold Cabrera at third. So he got to it quickly. Cabrera doesn't run like he used to and didn't get a very good break, and he was 3 steps from third base when the ball was in Alex's glove.
Joe McEwen, third base coach, he's smart. He knows how hard that ball was hit, and the fact that Alex Gordon has one heck of an arm. And sure enough, he would have been out.
So 2 outs, nobody on. Leads to the bases loaded and brings up AVISAIL Garcia. Challenged him with a fastball, and that registered at 96.
We talked about how sometimes Volquez can get in trouble, but he's been amazing in how he wiggles his way out. 2 outs here, he can do it again. Biggs only hit 202 off of him with a runner in scoring position. That's 5th lowest in the American League. He's really been good to execute. Hopefully he can here.
Jammed him. And that at 97. And Volquez will give you a quality start like he did on Friday against Cleveland, but he is able to work himself in and out of trouble as good as any Royals pitcher. I mean, he has a lot of high stress innings, and here's one right away in the bottom of the first. Still no balls, 2 strikes.
But he's got him set up here. He's 2 hard fastballs inside, and the curveball was out over the plate. He was able to foul it, but he's got to finish him off here. Somehow find a way to strike him out or pop him up. Ground ball, anything to get him out. He's got strikeout stuff.
One and 2. So it'll be at least a 25 pitch first inning.
Volquez has 147 strikeouts and 192 in the third coming in. So he's got what it takes to punch him out.
Had him reaching. Kane into right center field. So Volquez throws 25 pitches, but after loading the bases, the White Sox come up empty. Baseball, so he could hit both with just one visit.
Yeah, he's got to be a little bit friendly and come up and see me. We'll take care of him.
Royals Fan Fest presented by Commerce Bank, and the dates are set: January 29th, January 30th. That's a Friday and Saturday at the Kansas City Convention Center. Royals.com/fanfest for those tickets. Get them now. Last year was packed and a lot of fun. Events for all ages. Players will be there signing autographs. Slugger will be there. There's a lot of Royals merchandise and activities for the kids. 2-1 to Eric Hosmer, who belted his 17th home run in the 6th inning last night. He finished with 2 hits, and he has a couple of home runs in his career against Quintana.
Yeah, he does. Haas wants to stay away from trying to pull him. Go ahead and use the strength that he has going straight away or opposite field. There's a big curve there. That hung. He'll make a mental note of that. Pitch was up from his release point, and it started at him. That's going to be a pitch you can pull.
Good pitch to lay off of. I think Quintana put that right where he wanted to.
He did. After that hanger first time, you can't give him back-to-back the same spot.
Well, he's going to try and go with 3 curveballs in a row. Wow, they're mixing up the signs. Flowers gave Quintana a 2, which is typically a curveball, and Quintana went with a fastball. At least that's what I saw. Have I lost my mind?
No. No, look.
Did I miss a sign? Sometimes players miss signs.
Yeah.
Broadcasters can miss signs.
Sure they can. Now look, I just saw him sneak his little pinky finger in there.
Oh, okay. After the 2?
Right.
Okay.
It's hard to always go on that because they're mixing them up.
Well, I was thinking too. I mean, that would make sense if you had a runner at second base. And you're worried about someone stealing signs, but there was nobody on base at all. Anyway, Kendrys Morales, he homered in the 6th inning right after Eric Hosmer, his 22nd of the year. 1 ball and 1 strike. Two RBIs shy of his career high, Kendrys Morales. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And 2 doubles shy of his career high, which is 43. He accomplished both of those in the same year, 2009 with the Angels. Fastball, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Strikes out, and that's 2 for Quintana.
To be able to hit that curveball, the one you want, you really got to see where it comes out of his release point. I'm telling you, facing lefties, and they have a really good curve. You have to see it up around your neck. It's going to be good to hit. If it starts at your letters, you're going to be swinging in the dirt and missing.
Mike Moustakas has been on quite a roll in more than a month. Going back to August 20th, our Toyota League leaders for tonight. 33 games, 33 RBIs, and 10 home runs. High pop-up. Thompson comes in from right, and Sanchez still makes the play. Off walk, and Hosmer's at first base with 2 down. And now Salvador Perez.
That walk by Hosmer was his 57th in his career. And that's a career high for him. He had 56 in 2012. So that's good to see in walks for Hos. And all the Royals, you can really do a lot of damage when those guys get on base, when they get those hits by taking the free pass.
Sal jumps on a first pitch fastball and fouls it back. Two hits for Sal last night, a couple of singles. There are several Royals in the lineup tonight that have done very well against Quintana. Sal is one of them. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Wait him out. Quintana, he's not a guy that likes to walk either. Walk batters.
curveball stayed up and handled at second base by Sanchez, and that's the innings. The Royals aren't able to make anything out of the leadoff walk. No score. Masahiro Tanaka, first of all, has been pitching all year with a torn ligament in his elbow, and he was skipped in his last start with a grade 1 hamstring strain. So he pitches tonight against the Red Sox. 12-7. His ERA is under 3.5. The Yankees will not win the East, as the Blue Jays clinch the East by winning game 1 of a doubleheader in Baltimore today. And now the Yankees have a 3-game lead for the top spot, the top wild card spot, to host the wild card game. Carlos Sanchez hits it into left center field. Kane is there, and there's one down in the second inning. The Yankees have a 3-game lead over the Angels, who have taken over the top spot, or the second spot in the wild card. So if the season ended today, it would be the Yankees and the Angels at Yankee Stadium for the 1-game play-in game.
You finish strong in the month of September, you have a chance, and that's what the Angels have been doing. They've been playing winning baseball. And Johnny Giavotella, coming off of his injury, he's been really mixing it up in there with that lineup, getting hits, playing some good defense. I'm happy for Gio.
Mike Oltz lines it into center field. He made a big play on Mike Moustakas in the top of the 8th inning. If he doesn't make the play, the Royals score 1 run, maybe 2 runs. And now he's 1 for 1 tonight.
Good swing, good short and compact swing. Last night he had some good long swings. Maybe he worked on that during batting practice. He's trying to get on base. You know, Tanaka, you talked about him pitching with some discomfort. Flowers is too. Is he stepping in there? He's already got surgery planned in the offseason on his right knee. He's got some cartilage floating around in there. He found out, had a little cyst in the back of his knee, and I said, well, did you not want to take care of that sooner? And he goes, nah, you know what, I can play through it. So guys, you know, that's the way they're built. They're used to having nagging pains all the time, and then once they say something to the athletic trainer, then the athletic trainer has you go see the doctor, and the doctor says, you need season-ending surgery. So guys don't say a lot to the trainer about their little owies. They try to stay out of the trainer's room.
speaking of, we have learned that Greg Holland will have Tommy John surgery on Friday. So we wish him the best. And it's still pretty amazing when we learn that he actually first injured himself in August last year. Got through August, got through September, got through the postseason. Still saved 32 games with a torn tendon. And if the Royals didn't decide for him, he'd probably still be pitching right now.
That's what I'm talking about. Guys aren't going to say anything. They'll just try to get through it. That's talks about how tough you are. Holland, we all know what a grinder he is.
Blooped right center field, and Rios lost it. He wasn't going to make the catch, but he backed off, and that ball dropped about 20 feet in front of him. And Mike Olt remains at second base. He had a chance to go first to third if he had realized that Rios didn't see it.
Yep, when that ball left the bat, Flowers is saying, all right, it's going to be a hit. It's time for Volquez to induce that ground ball double play with 1 out. He's induced 20 so far this year. That's a career high for him.
Jumps ahead of Adam Eaton, who drove Lorenzo Cain to the warning track in left center field in the first inning.
But unless Eaton squares one up right at an infielder with his speed from the left side, it'll be tough to double up. Eaton hitting .285 with a runner in scoring position this season.
Broken bat, and it's 0-2. .5'8", Adam Eaton. With his 14 home runs, and a player of that size, you can imagine, has been playing with a chip on his shoulder his entire career. Told he is too small. I read a story about him a few years ago that, and I don't know if this is still the case. He's a bona fide major leaguer now, but he used to keep a list of names on his cell phone of the people who doubted him and told him he wouldn't make it. Never wanted to forget the doubters.
Really?
Yeah. Late on a fastball.
Well, that's interesting. I don't think they had enough pages to write down all the doubters that doubted me after being a #1 pick and spending 10 years in the minors. You know, I remember a lot of those guys, a lot of those doubters, but I didn't hold a grudge against them. I just said, that's your opinion. Thank you. And just threw another log on that internal fire, that heart. And that's what he was doing, I'm sure. But to take it to that point where you wrote everybody's down, I don't know about that.
And look at it every now and then.
Well, there's nothing better when you achieve your goal than to look at those same people all them years later and just smile at them and say, hey, how you doing?
And those are probably the people asking him for tickets now to games, right?
That's right.
Up the middle and into center field. So Volquez got the ground ball. It wasn't hit very hard, but Eaton. And normally you want to keep the ball out of the middle with the infield at double play depth, but he gets it in between Escobar and Zobrist, and Chicago leads 1-0.
Well, this time they found a way to get it done on a pitch that was up and away. He just slaps at it. Found the biggest hole in the diamond. When the opponents score first, this year the Royals are 31-47. So it does help them when they can get on the board first. When the Royals score first, they're 61-20. Another uphill climb.
And another high stress inning for Volquez. 40 pitches now with 1 out in the second inning. he has not been pitching ahead. He has now faced 11 batters. And his first pitch has been a strike to only 4 of those 11 batters. 0-2 on Abreu. He lined out to Zobrist at second base in the first inning.
Abreu's grounded into 16 plays this year. This is what Volquez needs. He needs a little roll him over.
Still 0-2. White Sox have had 5 base runners in an inning and a third. Bloom away with a fastball, and Volquez has been consistently 95, 96. We've even seen 97 with his fastball tonight.
Yeah, but back at the K against Cleveland, he had the same similar stuff. He looked really strong the day after they clinched. So that's going to help him in situations like that. Blow it by it. Power hitter. Good pitch. Trust him. You got that kind of velocity.
Good breaking ball for a strike. Melky Cabrera singled to center field in the first inning.
Last night they got Melky out up in the zone. Now he did get a base hit by staying on top of a high fastball that was about neck high, but they've been pitching him up there. Melky continues to swing at that.
Target is down and away, and the pitch is up and away. 1-2. As the White Sox and their fans look for a ray or rays of hope for next year, they have hit more in the second half than everyone expected in the first half. Melky Cabrera's had a much better second half. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Adam Eaton has had a very good second half. Still the biggest area of frustration for the White Sox this year, their offense. They have scored the fewest runs in the American League. And Cabrera, after falling behind, fills out the count. And now the White Sox will have Flowers and Eaton on the move. Volquez is very close to 50 pitches in the first 2 innings. There go the runners, and it's fouled away.
Yep, taxing the pitch count. Because he's trying to get Melky to hit it to an out. He's fouling him off. That's what happens when you try to elevate on a guy.
Runners take off again, and it's lined and caught by Zobrist. Not popped out of his glove. Royals still get the out. It was in his glove for a moment. And Zobrist adds to the list of outstanding defensive plays in the first 2 games of the series.
Oh, that saves a run for sure. And if it gets in the gap, maybe it saved Eaton from scoring too.
Action, heart-pounding excitement, historic performances. Don't miss the 2015 postseason beginning next Tuesday. Go to MLB.com/postseason for a full schedule. White Sox lead 1-0. They've had 6 base runners in the first 2 innings. The Royals have 1 base runner in the first 2 innings, and that was a walk. Alex Gordon is batting 8th tonight. He has 39 career at-bats against Quintana. 1 ball and 1 strike. Last time Alex batted this low in the batting order was 5 years ago. September of 2010.
Well, Ed Yost taking the positive approach, saying we have more run production down in the bottom of the order with Alex down there. I'm sure he'll continue to tinker the rest of the week and try to figure out the winning combination. But the fellas got to execute, and they got to win some games. Managers are going to change the lineup around a little bit if they're not having any success. They almost have to.
And whether you like it or not, and there's arguments on both sides, Ed Yost gives his players about as much time, if not more time, than most managers to figure it out.
Yeah, Alex, in his last 11 games, he's just 5 for 42 for a 119 average. No extra base hits, just 2 RBIs and 1 run scored. He has walked 6 times. That helps. 18 strikeouts. And pulling off the ball, trying to pull, has been his issue. And he's been hitting a lot of ground balls at the first baseman. There's a reason why they play Alex in the infield anyway, at least with these 2 guys bunched up over here, because when you're pulling the ball all the time, that's where you're hitting it. That's where Alex is hitting it. There you go. That's a better swing there. Using that whole field's going to help Alex come out of it. I'd like to see Alex hit some ground balls to the third baseman. I mean, not where he's playing right here, but I mean, just pretend the third baseman's over there and work that side of the field.
Moore hit it into deep left center field. Adam Eaton pursuit, gone. You can have your ground ball to the third baseman. I'll take my home run to left center field, but it's still the same swing path.
You better believe it. It's on the left side. That's exactly how you get promoted back to the top of the order. You produce. Beautiful opposite field home run. Just the fourth given up to a left-handed bat from Quintana this year. That ball's elevated. It's right down the middle, but he waited and put on some very nice bat speed right over that plate. Was able to jump it out of the yard for his 13th.
Fastball strike to Alex Rios. Quintana in his career has only allowed 17 home runs to left-hand batters. And by the way, Mike Moustakas has 2 and Eric Hosmer has 2. And that was Alex Gordon's first career home run against Quintana. Rios was 1 for 4 last night. Breaking ball pulled to third, and Holt will throw out Rios, 1 away. For the Royals, they have now hit 43 more home runs than they had all of last year, with Alex Gordon's 13th of the year. And it's not just the Royals. Home runs are up all over Major League Baseball. 685 more home runs this time of year compared to last year. 43 now if you add in Alex's tonight, so that's an increase of almost 23 home runs per team.
That's an interesting number and kind of hard to explain.
Eaton goes back and makes a play on Escobar. Esky is 0 for 2, and there are 2 down.
I mean, you know, that's a huge increase. Immediately you start to think, are the baseballs wound tighter? Is there a little more juice in the ball? Or, I mean, ballparks don't bring the fences in every year. Pitching seems to be better. I know they throw harder nowadays, so it's a little easier to hit home runs when the ball's thrown 95 or higher. Catching the ball jumps. I don't know what you're going to put your finger on there.
Popped up by Zobrist. Abreu tiptoes into foul ground, and that's the inning. The Royals get their first hit. It's Alex Gordon's 13th home run of the year. And it ties the game at 1.
Welcome back, Alex. Beautiful stroke.
With rapid pickup at delivery.panerabread.com. By Menards, save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by Thoroughbred Ford, for great deals on new Ford cars and trucks, visit thoroughbredford.com. Tied at 1, Adam Eaton drove in a run for the White Sox in the second inning. Alex Gordon homered in the third. And TRAYCE Thompson takes a breaking ball strike. Alex going to the opposite field against Jose Quintana to tie the game. The White Sox have 6 hits against Edinson Volquez in the first 2 innings, but they've scored 1 run. They have already stranded 5. Crack bat. Here comes Alex, and he makes a play. Another little tester. Seeing if he has that extra gear. Still recovering from that severe groin strain.
Oh, yeah. All they need from Alex is just to get that bat going. That magic wand from the left side is going to be a huge lift for this team. Keep that same approach. That might be the best thing that's happened to Alex since he's been back, going to the opposite field with a homer. He knows he can get a hold of one, an off-speed pitch, and pull it out of the yard. But in order to hit it that way, you got to really wait on that ball and just keep your hands inside of it.
Chop to Escobar. He had to back up to adjust to the hop. And he throws out Alexei Ramirez, who is 1 for 2. It's going to be tough, too, to think that way, Hud, when it's pretty clear that the pitchers are pitching him in and trying to get him to roll that ball to the right side.
Yeah, it is. But when you get a hit out there, or you get a couple of strokes that are going that way, it actually makes you quicker inside, because you're going to be able to recognize that quicker. You're looking away but protecting in. It's amazing how that works, but that's just the science of hitting. As you know, with the velocity, the ball's going to get up on you, but the hardest thing for a hitter to do is wait.
Volquez could really use a quick third inning. And he's 0-2 on Garcia. Edinson threw over 50 pitches, or right at 50 pitches in the first 2 innings, and now he's thrown 7 in this inning and has 2 outs. Stabilize his overall pitch count. You got Garcia on a fly ball to center field to end the first inning, and trying to get him to end the third inning. Just a little low with a changeup, 1-2. Strike 3 called over the inside, so he got a quick inning. 9 pitches to get Thompson, Ramirez, and Garcia.
And it was a beauty. Start trusting that heater a little bit more.
Garcia's got to go.
Our Mazda game break takes us to Baltimore, where no fans showed up, and it looks like the Orioles didn't either. Toronto wins at 8-0. Edwin Encarnacion goes deep again, and congratulations to John Gibbons and his Toronto Blue Jays winning their first division title since 1993. Flashback to 1993, guys, and they won the American League East over the Yankees by 7 games. Joe Carter led the team in home runs. The Milwaukee Brewers that year finished in last place in the American League East. That's how long it has been since the Blue Jays won it. By the way, their lineup for the doubleheader, Game 2, Pompey, Pennington, Carrera, Colabello, Haig, Tolley, Kawasaki, Barney, Diaz. And John Gibbons said he'd start a similar lineup for tomorrow's game.
Kane.
While we're at it, guys, we saw TRAYCE Thompson last night in left field perhaps ride or ruin the Royals' chances. And I was talking to Rusty Kuntz, the outfield expert and coach, about it, and it's possible that we saw 2 of the best catches by an outfielder in baseball here at this stadium this year. And I know that everybody talks about robbing home runs and all of that, but you remember Alex Gordon had that great catch earlier in the year, and on this one, well, for Thompson, first of all, he makes that play and robs the run last night. And then we know about Alex's into the stands. And, you know, what Rusty ended up saying was that those are the hardest catches because you've got to time everything perfectly. You've got to time ball, you've got to time glove before you hit the ground. And in the case of Gordon's, you're hoping there's someone there that can hold you up, maybe a bigger guy or something, so you don't go crashing into cement or seat. And Alex did get a little help there in TRAYCE Thompson's case last night. Just a spectacularly timed catch.
0-2 to Hosmer. And down to Sanchez, the second baseman. Let's listen to the hometown angle to Thompson's great catch last night.
Yes! What a play by TRAYCE Thompson again! You gotta be bleeping me. What a play. Mercy.
Hawk Harrelson. Kendrys Morales takes ball 1 from Quintana. Quintana struck him out in the second inning. There he is. Hawk Harrelson and Steve Stone on the television side for the White Sox.
Yeah, and you know, I can always trust Hawk. He has a drawer in the back of the booth there with a bunch of baseballs in it. So whenever I get up here and I don't have my baseball, I go in his drawer. And he told me I could go in there anytime. So I've dropped a couple of balls already tonight.
Morales is on with 2 outs. Just a second hit for the Royals.
A couple Cuban guys right there. I talked to Abreu before the game about Kendrys Morales, and he said that he has a lot of respect for Kendrys. He knew him in Cuba, knew of him. And I said, what's the biggest difference playing over there in Cuba and playing here? And he said, batting gloves. We didn't have any batting gloves in Cuba.
I would imagine not having men with high-powered rifles positioned at your international games would be different as well.
You would think, but I asked him the biggest difference. He said batting gloves.
Okay. Mike Moustakas takes ball 1. He popped out to second base in the second inning. So better batting gloves or just batting gloves, period?
Batting gloves, period.
Really?
I said they didn't have anything. And if you had one, it didn't last long because you would slide, whatever. We talked about ripping them.
Kendrys this year collected his 4th 20 home run season. These are Cuban-born players who have had 20 home run years. Rafael Palmeiro leads the list with 14. And Jose Canseco, Tony Perez, Tony Oliva. Some think that Tony Oliva should be in the Hall of Fame. All the way down to Minnie Minoso. The White Sox family lost Minnie Minoso this year. Well, some believe, and we hope it's true, that we are closer to the day when, if Cubans want to play in the major leagues, they don't have to get on a raft and be at sea for 30 hours with the Sharks just for the opportunity to play Major League Baseball.
Yep, I hope we see it.
Stockas pulls it to first, and Abreu is right there at the bag to end the inning. To the bottom of the fourth, it's the Royals 1 and the White Sox 1. Those innings, but pulled it together in the third after the Royals tied the game. 3 up, 3 down, which is 9 pitches. Still a lot of Royals fans here tonight. That guy's got it made. Getting a head massage. He's eating a hot dog. He's got his Royals jersey on. He has clearly missed some school.
He's got one
heaven on earth. Huh?
That hot dog.
He does have to look through that lady's hair, though, to see the game. So there's.
I wonder if she went to the beauty salon today. Because it's a little windy here. U.S. Cellular might take that dew and just do whatever you want to do with it.
Carlos Sanchez flied to center in the second inning. Lower third of the order against Volquez. Down and away, 1 ball and 1 strike. And a little bit high, 2 balls and 1 strike. When the season began, White Sox were excited about the development of Micah Johnson. Very dynamic young second baseman who had a very good spring training, and he was their second baseman to begin the year. Zobrist goes out into right field. But Johnson had problems defensively. They sent him down to the minor leagues. He had problems offensively, and they've just turned to Sanchez all year, who hasn't done much on offense but has given the White Sox quite a bit on defense. And the White Sox are a completely different defensive team in the second half than they were in the first half. And Robin Ventura, when he was a big league player, very good big league player, he won 6 Gold Gloves. So you know that just has to grind at him to watch his team for the better part of the last 3 years struggle as badly as they have on defense.
I had a chance to talk to him today about that. He said that we're better, and Saladino, the young utility type player who came up, and added some stability at third base defensively, and he might be their shortstop next year, Saladino. And he mentioned TRAYCE Thompson. And when I asked about AVISAIL Garcia, you know, he's a great athlete, big, strong guy. He thinks that AVISAIL Garcia could lose some weight and be a better defender if he lost some weight. Now, he still has good speed, he runs well, but he would be even better, Robin said. Maybe.
There's 3 guys you're talking about right there. Saladino with the hood on, Thompson working on his bat, and Garcia behind them. Wasn't that nice of them to gather as you were talking about the 3 of them?
I really appreciate that. They're
big Rex Hudler fans. They have a feed of our broadcast in their dugout.
How about a jam sandwich?
2 down.
No, but you know, I asked Robin, when it comes to asking a player to lose weight, when will you do that? When will you tell him that? He goes, usually last week of the season, getting down towards the last few days, I'll call a few guys in and I believe are going to be a big part of my team next year, and talk to him about that and explain to him, look, we need defense out of this spot too. We don't just need power productions. We need defense, and in order for me to keep you, putting you in that lineup, I'd like to see you drop some pounds.
Get him away from that net.
So you know, you feel good initially when you go into the manager's office and he spends time to talk to you, tells you that there's interest. He likes me. He has plans for me.
So how do you break it to him? Do you tell him he needs to lose weight and then tell him how important he is? Or tell him how important he is and then tell him he needs to lose weight?
Yeah, I think you tell him what a good addition he's been since he's been here. I like what power. I like your throwing ability, your assists that you've had this year. But there's one thing that I think you can improve on to help us as a team and improve yourself, and that's maybe cut a few pounds in the offseason. And then he wants to work on him lifting the low pitches to hit homers in this ballpark, because he's a strong guy, big, physical, but he grounds out a lot on pitches that are down. And Robin said, I want you to start concentrating on trying to lift, and that just comes with experience. So they think that Garcia is going to have a big power potential.
2-2 on Flowers. Yeah, he's put together like he should be playing for the Bears.
Linebacker.
And then the way he moves at that size is impressive. We saw him blazing up the line last night. Shattered bat, base hit. Base hit number 7 for the White Sox. And the second for Tyler Flowers.
Staying with the fastball, man, it's unbelievable that pitch right there can be hit out there. But when you're a strong guy and you take a full swing and it's on your hands, you hit a lot of doubles that way if you can run. He has a hard time running, but the pitch is elevated, it's easier to do.
Good slider for a strike to Adam Eaton. Eaton last night had 2 hits, including a 2-run home run. Tonight, he is flied to the warning track in left center field, and he drove in a run with a single. Pounded foul, and it's 0-2.
A year ago tonight, Cologne, we just saw him with that foul ball through it in the stands, scored the winning run in the wild card game. We showed it earlier tonight. It's hard for Goosebumps not to come up.
1-2 on Eaton. topic of goosebumps. How about that man on Sunday against the Indians? Found out the night before that his father had passed away, and then Chris Young went out and did this against the Cleveland Indians. He left the team and went back to Dallas to be with his family. Good to see him back here. He will start for the Royals the day after tomorrow in Minnesota. Here in it. Another broken bat. Zobrist gets eaten, and that's the inning. Volquez has retired 8 of the last 9.
He has vivid memories.
The energy the fans had, I remember walking up to the plate and telling myself, you can't hear anything here. If they call me from the dugout and say, hey, you're not hitting now or whatever, like, I just couldn't hear it. So it was just super loud. That's the only thing I can really remember. And, you know, obviously all the running around, stealing bases and getting hits and, you know, winning the game at the end. So just crazy.
It is one of those games, guys, that we may find out 20 years from now that 100,000 people say that they were at Kauffman Stadium. And everyone will talk about Salvador Perez, and rightfully so, with the hit. But Christian Colon perhaps one day will be the trivia question with that game-tying RBI on that infield hit that brought in Eric Hosmer, and then the winning run on Salvi's hit.
Broken bat and a base hit for Salvador Perez. Andy McCullough, who is the Royals beat writer for the Kansas City Star, he wrote a great story just going through that whole day and all the things that happened in the wild card game. And Johnny Gomes, by the way, is who ended up with the base hit that Salvador Perez hit in the 12th inning. He was in left field for the A's. I had a very interesting visit with Josh Donaldson when we were in Toronto. Sal's base hit went by Donaldson, and I was really looking forward to sharing some of those thoughts that day, but then Donaldson and Volquez got into it, and I thought, well, this isn't the right time to talk about Josh Donaldson. But it's really interesting because Johnny Gomes does not have a very strong throwing arm. He was in left field. Jed Lowry was the shortstop for the A's. He didn't have great range. Donaldson had a very sore knee. Curveball makes it 0-2 on Alex. Alex homered in the 3rd inning. So I asked Donaldson before that Sunday game in Toronto, you know, what he remembers about that play. And it was interesting because he said he stayed up at night for weeks after that game questioning where he positioned himself, and Andy McCullough addressed that in his story. And Donaldson normally would be closer to the line, but a pitch or two before this hit, he moved more towards the hole. And his thinking was, if Perez hooks it up the line, there's nothing he can do. And he figured that Sal was going to pull it because they were just throwing him off speed pitches. So he tried to put himself in the best position for the most possible range on the left side. Quintana strikes out Alex, and that's number 3. So prior to that pitch, or maybe a pitch before that, he thought, you know what, I'm going to move back and I'm going to move more towards the hole. He protects his shortstop, gives him some more range. He also has a better chance of keeping the ball out of left field because Colon runs well. He's going on contact. Gomes is not a good thrower. So he did that on his own. And now for us, it was all about the Royals winning. It was all about the comeback. It was all about Salvi's clutch hit. And we never even thought about what the A's were doing on defense. But that was fascinating to hear Donaldson just kind of go pitch by pitch and what he was doing and what he had to consider. And it was just right before that moment, he took a couple of steps. Now, I don't know if he gets Salvi, but if he keeps the ball in the infield, Colon doesn't score, and who knows what happens.
It is amazing when you call it a game of inches, and it is.
I was fully expecting Donaldson to say, yeah, man, I came so close. I could feel it off my glove. And aside from what happened with Donaldson and the Royals, he was an extremely friendly guy, very engaging. I didn't know how he would respond. I mean, who wants to talk about that? I mean, that was a heartbreaking loss. And by the way, when we were playing the Blue Jays in Toronto, they were right around 500. They were not where they are right now. So, but I was surprised when he said, yeah, that kept me up at night for weeks. Rios is down on strikes. So 4 strikeouts for Quintana and 2 down in the 5th inning.
Well, Donaldson will get another shot now. He's with the Blue Jays. No, it's interesting watching them. You know, they won the American League East in the first game of the doubleheader. And they showed the celebration on the field, and then they showed the celebration in the locker room. There was no plastic on any lockers. There was no bubbly. There was no beverages whatsoever. And they were all just kind of milling around hugging each other because they had another game to play.
It was weird. Very awkward, especially when the Blue Jays, I mean, we knew they were going to the playoffs. It's just a matter of time. But they were on the hook for the longest playoff drought in the major leagues. Similar to the Royals, they had not been to the playoffs since winning the World Series. Royals last year, 29 years, going back to 85. The Blue Jays had not been to the playoffs since 93 when they won back-to-back World Series. Two and one on Alcides Escobar, but as Joel told us a few moments ago, the Blue Jays were pulling in guys off the street to put in the lineup for the second game of the doubleheader.
Yeah. It'll probably be that way tomorrow.
Royals not been moving runners like they typically do. They've been scoring runs. They've been hitting home runs. Eric Hosmer in the second inning reached with a leadoff walk and never got to second. Salvador Perez reached with a single to begin this inning, and he's still standing at first with 2 down. Ground ball, and Old got his glove on it, tried again and missed. And that could be a big break for the Royals. Let's see if they make the White Sox pay. It's an error on Old, who perhaps saved the game late last night, and his error here extends the inning for the Royals.
Well, the ball hopped up on him, but he had plenty of time to adjust, just hit the heel of his glove. And there's no chance to get the runner after you miss a ball when you go back down and try to pick it up with your glove, you got to go down with a bare hand in order to have success on that.
Big curveball for a strike to Zobrist. Zobrist is 0 for his last 14 and 4 for his last 30. So he is due with a capital D. Now, mixed in that was the ball that he drove last night that Thompson made the great play on. Now over the mound, Sanchez backhands, throws just in time on one hop. And Zobrist hops in frustration. So the Royals will look at it. And Ned Yost says nope. They agree with the call at first base. The Royals get a leadoff single. They get an error, but are not able to score.
That is a heck of a play.
Is with MLB.com At Bat. It's the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat brings you baseball wherever you are with live look-ins, highlights, replay reviews, scores, statcasts, live radio broadcasts, the MLB.TV game of the day, and more. Download at MLB.com on your iPhone or tablet. Jose Abreu leads off, and a slider is in for a strike from Volquez. Volquez has got Abreu on a line out to second, and he has struck him out. By pitching 4 innings tonight, Edinson Volquez has a brand new career high in innings pitched. He has gone 196 1/3 innings pitched. So if he can go deep into the game tonight, he can get to 200 innings for the first time in his career. And he's also set a career high with his 33rd start tonight. Volquez would have to go another 3 2/3 innings tonight to get to 200.
Pitch count's not going to work for 3 more innings. I mean, it could. See him get some early count outs.
Make Jose Abreu swing like that, you have thrown a big league pitch. Volquez strikes him out for a second time. He has 3 strikeouts tonight.
Yeah, I agree. if I've ever seen him take a swing like that. Obviously, he was guessing. Looking for something else besides that one. Fastball.
He's happy. There's no doubt about that. One on Melky. Now the game's changed, so I acknowledge that. And you listened to that 1939 Lou Gehrig interview, didn't you?
I did.
So even back in 1939, veteran players were talking about how some guys don't take it as seriously as they used to, and young players don't want it as bad as they used to. So this has been going on for a long time. But when your team has had as disappointing as any season in the American League, and you're new to that team, what message does it send when you get on base and you start hugging guys on the other team on the bases?
Well, you know, obviously everyone has their own personality, their own individual, but I don't see any other White Sox doing that. So that's all on him. Nobody's following that.
And he did play for the Royals. That was 4 years ago, and had the best season of his major league career with the Royals. He has a 2-hit game, and he's at first base with 1 out. Another department where the game has changed for better or for worse is that anyway, better or for worse is there seems to be fewer guys in the dugout that will take a player aside and say, you know, it doesn't look very good with the way we're playing in our record right now, that you're out there putting your arm around players on the other team. I mean, let's say Eric Hosmer later in the game tonight hits a 3-run home run off of Quintana to win the game. How does he feel when his teammate is on the base pass and he has his arm around the guy that just hit a home run against him?
No, I totally get it.
Or are we past that? I mean, is life just frolicking through the tulips now on a Major League Baseball field, and that hard side of the game is a thing of the past?
Well, obviously it's not as prevalent, but Melky is the only player that I've seen do that. Now Hosmer can't do anything about it. Puts his arms on it. You know, really, I mean, you can't say, look, don't touch me. I don't see that going around late. Melky's the only player I've seen do that. Thompson, he's trying to pull that ball.
I don't think anybody with the Tigers has thought about putting their arms around Lorenzo Cain at first base after September of last year.
No, I don't think so.
Thompson is singled and flied out to left field. Am I starting to sound like an old guy?
No.
Okay.
No, that's our job. We talk about what we see. You don't see that. I'm not a fan of it.
Now a walk to Thompson. Now Volquez is at 93 pitches, so he is paying the price for what happened in the first 2 innings. He only allowed 1 run. He gave up 6 hits. He threw 50 pitches. There is nobody warming up in the Royals bullpen, but I and change in just a moment. Salvador Perez goes out to have a little chat with Volquez. 2 25-pitch innings and 1 19-pitch inning. He's thrown 15 in this inning, and he only has 1 out.
Well, one remedy for that is to get Alexi Ramirez to ground into his 18th double play.
Outside, and Ramirez has grounded out tonight. He also has a ground ball base hit. Depending on how he feels, Royals could go a little longer with Volquez. His next scheduled start would be Monday, but there is no game on Monday. There's no game on Tuesday. There's no game on Wednesday. And it seems unlikely that he would pitch Thursday or Friday of next week. So he could go a little deeper than normal, considering how much time he's going to have off from game action, actual game action.
Yeah, it's possible they could let him go a little bit further. But in this at bat here, he's fallen behind 2-0. His first 2 pitches are on the outer half. He wants to keep that ball away from the middle in the worst way. Alexis, pretty dangerous. Although he pitches 231 with the runner in scoring position.
Got the call, 2-1.
Well, that's a good call for him right there. He needed that.
Watching. He got 2 ground ball double plays last night. Good slider. I'm no pitching coach, Hud, but it would appear that Volquez's stuff, and again, stuff just refers to velocity and movement, is good tonight. He's not hanging a lot of pitches. Everything he's throwing is moving, but he just has a very high pitch count for 4 1/3 innings.
Yep, he does. A lot of high fastballs being fouled off.
Now 3 balls, 2 strikes, and they go to work in the Royals bullpen. Franklin Morales is just starting to loosen up. Volquez is at 98 pitches.
Execute that pitch down the zone. Let him hit it at one of the infielders.
Got it.
Good pitch.
That is number 4 for Volquez. Because he's pitching, Hud, and I'm looking at his pitch count, I'm thinking, if tonight was a playoff game, this would be completely acceptable. Giving up 1 run in hopefully 5 innings at 100 pitches, because your bullpen is rested just about every night. You don't have to worry about next series or the series after that.
Let him empty his tank here.
One on Garcia. He has struck out and fly to center field. Garcia is batting at .257. But in his last 56 at-bats, he has 7 hits.
Time was called, and Volquez looked at Melky and acted like he was going to pick him off. And time was called.
Broken bat. Escobar to the middle. Flips! And Zobrist grabs it with his bare hand. I don't know if that was the easiest play for Escobar to get the final out. It was the most dazzling play, and he gets Volquez out of the inning.
Oh, what a pick-me-up. Good focus.
Season game is on Sunday in Minneapolis, but Fox Sports Kansas City will have you covered during the postseason as well. And October means baseball, and FS1 continues to be your home for postseason action with the American League Division and Championship Series. Don't miss a moment of the drama and history. It all begins October 8th on FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Okay, this played in the inning. Escobar made it a difficult feed for Zobrist to catch because it was behind him. But he also, Escobar and every shortstop and the infielders all have to know the speed of the hitter, the runner who hit the ball. And AVISAIL GARCIA flies down that line. So Escobar thought that was his only play, and it worked.
Out to first. He is 0 for 3. Yeah, it was a fantastic play by Escobar, but as we showed the replay before we went to break, I started to think about that's a hard play for Zobrist. I mean, he's got to grab that ball with his bare hand, keep his foot on the bag, and as you said, he kind of had to reach behind
and not drop it. Cool night. That ball's cold. It's not an easy play, but they picked up Volquez. Those numbers.
Ball dips a little bit low. Our sonic slamming contestant is John Bliss from Lenexa. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, John wins $100. We gave away $2,000 last night. As the Royals, beginning with the man at the plate right now, homered twice. Eric Hosmer cleared the pot with a home run, and then Kendrys Morales homered again, worth another $100. Hot shot out to Ramirez. That drives him to the outfield grass. And Hosmer is out. He is 0 for 2 with a walk tonight.
Good idea, though. One of the opposite field. That ball was hit hard. Quintana, we knew before the game that he's been throwing a lot more curveballs in his last few outings. He has good command with it, and he's changing speeds with it. In order to have success against a guy who's a dominant fastball curveball guy, you really got to think opposite field. Unless it's a hanger, you can pull those out of the park. But it's much easier to think opposite field, keep your hands inside the ball, and it keeps you from swinging at the one down and in.
Laid on a fastball. Morales has singled to center and struck out. One and two. Vote for the Royals Player of the Month at rallyhouse.com. You'll be entered to win a majestic prize pack from Rally House. I have a question for Dave Holtzman. Holtzy, tonight is September 30th, so we'll be voting on a Player of the Month, right? And then 4 days in October, will we have a 4-game Player of the Month for October? Nope, it'll be a September and October. So this is your last chance to vote for the Royals Player of the Month. Checked his swing, no swing.
Quintana, he's really working that lower half of the zone with them breaking balls to both lefties and righties. See him up. Trying to stay inside of it. Looking the opposite way. I'll help you lay off of that one in the dirt.
And Morales goes walking with 2 down. As Quintana's second. He is at just 81 pitches in 5 2/3 innings. Mike Moustakas has popped to second and grounded out to first. He has 2 home runs in his career against Quintana. He's going to sit on a hanging curveball right here and hit it into the Royals bullpen.
Hey, it's got to be a hanger. Yes! Dialing 8. Brian Lefevre on the call. On the hanger. All of it. Stay hot, partner. That was a beauty. Wow. Right on cue. There you go. That's the pitch that you hit out of the park when it's elevated. The other ones, you can't pull those. You swing over the top of it. And Moustakas, like you said, looked for the hanger and he banged it into the Royals bullpen. Was it that easy?
Well, if you were just watching the game tonight, he was jumping ahead with curveballs and then getting the Royals to chase the curveball out of the strike zone later. So I think left-handed or right-hand batter, their chances are better, and Salvador Perez just jumped on a curveball to look for a first pitch curveball rather than a first pitch fastball. Now the bullpen part, that was lucky.
You were on it. Eddie Volquez, go ahead, got that nice defensive play in that inning, saved a run. Salvi.
Wild throw, and Salvi's on with 2 outs. So this all started with 2 outs. A walk to Morales, a Moustakas home run, and now Salvador Perez has 2 hits.
And when you don't have speed and you get an infield hit on a booty knock like that, you earned it. He's already coming out. He's running out of the box on contact. And I think a perfect throw by Alt would get him out. His 4th infield hit of the season. Don't get many of those, but he'll take it. Hopefully it could turn into another run.
And now Alex, no hit, but that's a good sign, Hud.
Yep.
He is homer to the opposite field, and now he's grounded sharply up the middle. Mike Moustakas adds to his career highs. That is number 22. And RBI 78 and 79. And the Royals lead 3-1. Of a home run. Mike Moustakas with a 2-run shot gives the Royals the lead. Your college football Saturday starts at 10:30 with a doubleheader of huge Big 12 showdowns. On FS1 as 23rd ranked West Virginia takes on 15th ranked Oklahoma, followed by K-State battling 12th ranked Oklahoma State, and Arizona State looks for an upset against 7th ranked UCLA on Fox, and 22nd ranked Michigan takes on Maryland on the Big Ten Network.
You've been right all night. Volquez, they're letting him go. Letting him empty his tank with no start remaining. This is it. I don't know if you do the lottery or not, but do you have any lottery picks?
Well, I've gotten about 15 texts, and I would say 13 of the 15 have something to do with a Powerball ticket tonight.
Stay hot, buddy. Look, whatever it takes for a Royals win.
Volquez makes the play and gets Sanchez. You think about Volquez also pitching deeper into the game. It's not just because he's going to have a lot of time off. I mean, let's see. I think the common feeling right now is that either Johnny Cueto or Yordano Ventura will pitch game 1 and the other one will pitch game 2, and Volquez will pitch game 3 of the division series. So that's next, what, Sunday, a week from Sunday. And you think, okay, my legs have been sore from running, I just won't run for a while, my legs will feel better. Well, with pitching, to keep arm strength, you need to throw.
Right.
So you can fall into the trap of thinking, well, if he doesn't throw all those days, he's going to be strong. And that could be true, but as far as command, as far as actual arm strength, he's better off throwing more.
Yeah, and you know, there'll be a few options for Ned. On the weekend series against the Twins, he may let Volquez pitch out of the bullpen for some live hitting. Of course, he can always step up his side sessions too. So there's a couple options for him to keep him fresh. But another quality start. Ned's got to be happy.
Tyler Flowers is 0 for 2 with a couple of singles. You know, maybe at some point tonight we can look at where James Shields was for the Royals last year after 33 starts. Take a while for the guys to look it up and put it together, but one similarity would be how Volquez continues to compete even if he's getting knocked around or giving up a lot of base runners early in the game. Flowers is 3 for 3 against Volquez. He's going to have to hold as Alex got to the side wall very quickly. James Shields and Edinson Volquez. Shields in the past for the Royals. Volquez this year for the Royals had a lot of starts like the first two where they get knocked around, but then all of a sudden get on a roll. So Shields last year 14-8, ERA a little lower, more innings, walks and hits per innings pitched lower, but overall the Royals record about the same as it was with James Shields. So one fewer loss, or one fewer win, one more loss. So there's the answer to critics, and not to say I wasn't one of them, who wondered if Edinson Volquez could fill the void left behind by James Shields.
Numbers tell you it's a good pickup. Great pickup.
Shields, by the way, with those numbers, ended up with 34 starts during the regular season, and Volquez will have 33. So that would have closed the gap, more of the gap with the total innings pitched. 2-0.
I like to bear down on Eaton here, but don't leave him anything up in that strike zone. He could tie this game. Abreu on deck. I want to see him leading off the inning next inning. Get Eaton.
You know. And the way Eaton's been swinging the bat, it's easy right now to say, well, if Eaton gets on, you got to worry about Jose Abreu. Well, Eaton has 14 home runs. I mean, one swing of his bat, and he could tie the game. And he was ready to swing on 3-0. That wasn't quite the pitch that he wanted. Is on the dugout steps, and the Royals are ready to go in the bullpen. Late swing on a fastball, 3-2.
Yeah, I think it's dawned on Volquez too. He'd much rather try to get Eaton out than the beast on deck. Abreu, good pitch. See if he can repeat that. Stay with the heater. I wouldn't give him anything off speed that's up in the zone, because we see what he can do with that. We saw last night the changeup that Cueto threw.
And this will be pitch number 115 to tie his season high.
Challenge.
Flowers runs, and it's line foul.
I believe that this will be Volquez's last hitter.
Flowers runs again, and Eaton again hits it foul. Well, we've had another team clinch. The Cardinals have won the National League Central by beating the Pirates. And just like the Blue Jays, the Cardinals clinch their division in blowout fashion. That was the second game of a doubleheader. The Blue Jays clinched theirs in the first game of a doubleheader. And Volquez with a season high 116 pitches, and he strikes out Eaton to end the bottom of the sixth.
Excellent job, Steady Eddie. Challenge him. That might have been his best fastball all night. With a finish.
Brought to you by your Midwest Ford dealers. Visit your MidwestFordDealers.com. And by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price every day. The Royals could pitch Edinson Volquez in the Minnesota series in what would be his workout day, his workout in between starts, but that is probably his last start for the playoffs. If there's a blemish, it would be his pitch count, but that's it. He gave up 1 run in 6 innings, and he continued to pitch well with men on base. He's one of the toughest in the league with runners in scoring position. And the White Sox left 9 runners on base in his 6 innings.
And Ned was saying it before the game. Volquez has trouble at times, gets himself into trouble, but he finds a way more times than not to wiggle out of it. And there it was again, escaping a bases-loaded first inning against the White Sox. Excellent final start.
Check swing, or not a full swing, and Mike Holt. What a great play. They didn't get the out, but my goodness,
what a recovery.
A blind prayer throw over to first base, and it was right on the money.
Yeah, he kicked it the first time, kind of climbed up his glove again, and then to do that, that's beautiful. What a good pick at first base. It looked like it might have got him from that angle.
You know, another part of that too, Hud, that ball was still kind of floating in the air right before he threw. He didn't have a grip. I mean, it kind of rolling up his arm, and they are going to challenge.
I would too. What a play.
Wow.
That was a great recovery after the initial clank. I mean, to get a grip on the ball is one thing, but then to get it over there and get rid of it quickly, if you get a decent runner. But it was the pickup by Abreu that made him special. He was way out there. Good stretch and a good pick. And that's what got him. Look at him out there. See how he's getting out there to get that ball? Yeah, but is his foot off the bag?
That's right. That's right. Good call. Don't know, but that's one of the first things that we learned about replay last year, is that you think that the challenge is whether the ball hit the glove before the runner got to the bag, but when they replay it or they review it in New York, they look at all aspects of the play.
A little better angle here. Was his foot on the base?
Doesn't look like it right now. What do you think?
I don't know. It's a little bit far away from me. We can see that.
That's close.
Yeah, that'll be the call. Did he keep his foot on there? Because the throw looked like it beat him. Could be enough for a call stands. It's not conclusive with his foot.
Wow. Great play. And Rios, who played with Alt in Texas, even appreciates that effort by his former teammate. He would have loved to have a hit, but he even kind of saluted Holt when he was standing at first base, and we were waiting for the outcome.
Yeah, some incredible play on both ends. Abreu, the stretch. That's probably the best stretch that he's had, even though we don't get to see him all the time. But that recovery there was special. That'll be in the top 10 tonight.
Alcides Escobar challenges his counterpart. And the ball came up and hit him on the heel of the glove.
It's got to be a hit. Ooh,
an error.
Oh, man.
Wow. Go get him, Hud.
He's just a booth over. I'll get some eye contact with him. But look, this ball bounces up. On a backhand play, you can't assume a shortstop's going to even throw him out if he picks it cleanly. See how that last hop came up on him and bit him? Got to give the benefit to the hitter.
That is not ordinary effort.
Right.
So if you are scoring at home, I'd put that down in pencil for now. Let him know, bud. Come on.
He's not looking.
But you're in your intimidation stance right now. So is Denny. Denny's very upset with that call. Don't give up. He's going to look over here eventually. So you've already lost your edge. You had the mean eye thing going there for a minute. There are the official scorers right in the booth over here. There's HUD. Well, let's get his attention.
I don't think he's going to change it because he looks pretty confident.
Well, he at times will come into our booth and ask the broadcasters, what did you think?
He's too busy eating a pretzel.
Now I can see into his booth from here, and he has been an official scorer. There we go, HUD. Tell him. Bob Rosenberg has been an official scorer in Chicago for a long time. There you go. Eye contact. And I watched his monitor, and he's a good official scorer. We're having fun with him. So his struggles continue. He is down on strikes, but I did happen to look through the glass. The partition separating our booth and his booth is glass. And I was looking, and first there was the play at regular speed, and then he watched the replay and then made the call. Well, the replay is always in slow motion, and that play always looks easier in slow motion.
You're right. I got eye contact with him.
Should you tell him to meet him in the parking lot after the game?
Oh, no. Okay. I just said that's a hit, and he looked at me and shook his head and said, no, it was an error. And that's an out. See this.
It's been a tough year for Lorenzo as far as fouling ball off of his legs.
This is not good. It's the worst place to foul a ball off. Hitters fear that. Fouling one off your knee. He is in pain. I didn't see the pitch, but I bet it was a curve.
Well, I'm glad to see Nick Kenny smiling.
Yeah, you know, one thing that bothers you as a player, you know, the trainer comes out there and he gets right on the spot and he says, where does it hurt? Ah, right there. Get off it, man.
Oh, but in his defense, he has to find out what spot hurts, so let him know if that's a bad spot or.
Yeah, you're right. Now let's see what the pitch was. It looked like a slider off his back leg.
Back knee?
Yeah, it's back knee. Watch this.
Oh,
yeah, right.
So to get him on the kneecap.
The bone. Look where the ball bounced.
I mean, you can graze your kneecap on the dresser, walk into your bed at night, and you feel like your leg's going to fall off, let alone fouling a ball off of your knee.
Oh, man, this is a good sign here. Oh, people can exhale now. he's good enough to stay in there, he's all right. A little good-sized bruise on there.
And that's past Flowers. Allows Escobar to go up to second base.
Now, if Lorenzo Cain's back knee and back leg is still bothering him, I'm sure it is. Maybe this will allow him to shorten up his swing, because that back leg is the one that you really lean back on. Especially we see Lorenzo Cain when he drives one, how much pressure he puts on his back leg by leaning back. He'll just try a little opposite field, low Cain triangle spot. Stay inside of that breaker that's going to be coming in.
Holt catches it on a short hop and throws out Cain. Cain was slow out of the box. That might be because of a sore knee, and he may have thought that that ball was caught on the fly. So Holt makes two very good plays in the seventh.
This one, Gerard Dyson replacing him in center field. Panera takes us around the league. Toronto, first division title since '93. And then their AAA squad playing in the second game. A lot of Blue Jays fans complaining, why aren't we trying for home field advantage? We've seen that one before. Minnesota wins 7-1. And now Cleveland's winning 7-1 in that end of their doubleheader. Our Mazda game break, the Angels, the hottest team right now in baseball. There's Johnny Giavotella as he gives the Angels the lead, but the Athletics have come back. Oakland leading 8-6. This is a scary moment, just like what we saw, but this one up on the hands. Yoenis Cespedes has been the key to the Mets since being traded over. The good news, he did leave the game, is that the X-rays were negative. That would be huge for the Mets and their playoff hopes going forward. Luke Hochevar is in the game. After this one, Jeff Montgomery and I will break it down on Boulevard Royals Live. We'll talk about Edinson Volquez's last start of the year. We'll look at some of those home runs here from Ned Yost and much more. And I think we might hear Ryan Lefebvre's call on the home run. Rhino, I also had many, many tweets asking for lottery numbers, but my favorite tweet of the night came from our buddy Josh Bernier of 610 Sports, who said, Lefebvre's stealing signs, by the way, so obvious he'll wear one for that.
Really?
Yeah, I was out in the hallway after that inning, and as soon as I got out there, Ed Farmer, the White Sox radio announcer, threw one at my chin.
Well, you ducked it. I see you're all right.
Drilled to center field. Dyson is out there now, and the White Sox make it a one-run game.
Well, there's his 30th home run. Fastball elevated. Salvi wanted it up, and that's exactly where Salvi got it. And 30th home run. The second consecutive year. He's gone deep 30 or more times. He's powerful. Perfect hitter for this park.
And that's a good point, Hud, because usually when a hitter hits a home run, not all the time, but usually it's because the pitcher missed his spot. He didn't execute his pitch, but that wasn't the case there. That's what Salvi was calling for. Melky Cabrera is 2 for 3, and his one out was hard hit. Left field, slicing to the line. Alex runs it down. So one question about tonight, and Luke Hochevar is more than capable of getting the Royals through the 7th inning. It's not Brian Madsen in the 7th inning. Madsen last pitched on Monday at Wrigley Field. He threw 14 pitches. Kelvin Herrera threw 9 pitches on Monday. Wade Davis hasn't pitched since Sunday. So unless Ned Yost just liked the matchups in the 7th inning for Hochevar, it would appear, and I say that in quotations, it would appear that Madsen or Herrera or Davis is not available tonight. And Ned Yost is always very close to the vest when it comes to that before the game, so no need to let the opponent know that a big arm like that will not pitch in the game. Hochevar did not get that pitch down like he wanted to, but that curveball has been a key pitch for him the last month or so, maybe even longer. I mean, it is an old-fashioned hook.
And he complements it with a cutter in the low 90s, and 7 tops on his fastball got another pop up.
Escobar makes the play. So Dyson's out there for Kane. And we just heard that Lorenzo Cain was removed with a right knee contusion. He is considered day-to-day. So the Royals will get him off of his legs. Dyson in center and Paulo Orlando in right for a defensive upgrade. Two down to Alexei Ramirez. A high fastball away. He is 1 for 3 with a first inning single. And that's popped up. Dyson started back, and now he has to sprint in, and he takes care of the fly ball from Ramirez. So a leadoff home run. Hochevar gets the next 3, and now the Royals lead is 1. City will have you covered during the postseason. The Boulevard Royals Live postgame show will be here on Fox Sports Kansas City after every playoff game. Joel, Monty, Rex, and I will break down the games. For home games, we'll be at Kauffman Stadium. When the Royals are on the road, we'll anchor our shows from the Power and Light District. It's the postseason coverage you'd expect from your home of the Royals, Fox Sports Kansas City. Jose Quintana pitches into the 8th inning. This is pitch number 99. And he learned his lesson after throwing a first pitch curveball to Mike Moustakas in the 6th inning for a strike. Eric Hosmer was thinking the same thing, but that curveball was out of the strike zone. And now in the dirt again. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hosmer is grounded out twice, and he is walked.
Quintana's thinking, I got him to swing it at once. He'll do it again.
Fastball in on him.
Quintana, we talked about it before the game. This guy has really good stuff in command. Changes speeds with his curveball. A couple different changes. Does a good job of keeping the ball down for the most part. Just toyed with Haas right there.
He, for the White Sox, has been the bad luck guy year after year. You know, normally it just falls on the shoulders of one starter every year. One guy's the bad luck dude. He just doesn't get the run support. And usually there's no reason for it. But for Quintana, I mean, that's been the case for him for several years in Chicago.
Yeah, I have in my notes on Quintana, he's the captain of bad luck.
Line to third. Morales is 1 for 3 tonight with a run scored. And let's go to Joel.
You know, we've seen teams before have to wait for another team to knock someone off, and, you know, they lose the game, but then somebody else wins and they get to celebrate. In the Blue Jays case today, they won the division, but they couldn't celebrate because they had to go play another game 45 minutes later. Well, they just lost 8-1, and now their party has begun. So they're in there celebrating a loss, and they'll head out for an overnight flight or a late flight in an early game tomorrow in St. Petersburg because of weather issues down there. And I think the reserves will be playing once again, John Gibbons hinted, but the party has begun in the visiting clubhouse at Baltimore.
Kind of mixed feelings about that. I mean, I don't think teams right now are lining up to play the Toronto Blue Jays. And at the same time, we're happy for John Gibbons. Yep. Part of the Royals coaching staff for a few years. One of the really, really good guys in the game. And Moustakas strikes out in a curveball. Flowers tags him out to end the inning. And Gibbons, who'd been a bad luck manager in years past because of injuries, underperformance, and just a bad roster, he is now a division champion manager. By the way, Joel, there's one more game. There's one more game in Baltimore. And here's a very loyal follower of yours. She's tweeting you right now to remind you that there's another Blue Jays Orioles game in Baltimore, which was moved from a night game to a day game with the approaching storm. So just heads up, that tweet is on its way.
I just got the tweet.
Okay.
I got a couple of them, but she was the first. So, yes. Tomorrow morning, they play those that are awake in Baltimore. And there's weather and there's magic numbers and all that. Back to you.
Well, we'll assume that it's Ryan Madsen not available tonight. He has pitched in 4 of the last 6 games. So tonight it appears to be HHD. Luke Hochevar. He allowed a run in the 7th inning. And now Herrera and presumably Wade Davis if the Royals still have the lead. Is it Hurricane Joaquin that's causing the problems on the eastern seaboard?
I haven't been updated yet.
AVISAIL Garcia. You haven't been updated? Are you usually briefed on the weather?
I do watch the weather channel.
Okay. Because the way that you said that you haven't been updated, as though you have your own weather research team and they just haven't keyed you in on what's going on.
No,
is that the case?
Yeah, I'm not that important, but I do like to watch them. But I thought that hurricane was going to go up the coast and away from land. I didn't see it coming. I haven't seen the recent movement of it.
You were told it was going to go up the coast and away from land?
Yeah, like 3 days ago.
Okay.
So a lot happens in a hurricane in a few days. It has a mind of its own. Apparently, it's not full strength.
Those are all facts of a hurricane. You're right. One and 2 on Garcia. Dave Holtzman just told me that Josh Earnest was busy today at the White House, and he apologizes for not briefing you on the weather, but he hopes to get with you at some point tomorrow.
I forgive him.
Right by him at 99, and Garcia's problems continue. One down in the bottom of the 8th inning. Edinson Volquez went the first 6 innings. He gave up 1 run on 9 hits. Here are the sprint cuts of the game.
Good stuff on his fastball tonight. And a good play by Zobrist. Saved a run. Maybe 2 on that play. Then he finds a way to wiggle out of it. Another good defensive play. Final strikeout was a beauty.
Sanchez is 0 for 3. Zobrist to the middle, and Sanchez is out number 2. There are signs, even though the Royals haven't rattled off a lot of consecutive wins, that they are breaking out of this and going to get hot going into the playoffs. In my opinion, Hud, that the defense looks like Royals defense lately. The pitching is starting to come around. There's a strike to Olt. The Royals starters ERA in the last 4 games is 1.5. And as the Royals are 10-17 in September, the area of concern, biggest concern, would be the starting rotation. So 4 games, that's starting to clean itself up. I personally would like to see the Royals running again. You know, they just haven't put a lot of fear into opposing teams. You know, hit and run, stolen base, and I get that opposing pitchers have been countering the Royals running game with slide steps and all that, and yet I can't help but think, you know, if you're facing a pitcher who has a 120 opponent's batting average, that doesn't mean you don't go to the plate with a bat in your hand. I mean, so to me, that's the one facet that's maybe slow to come. The Royals are scoring runs, they're hitting home runs, but it just doesn't feel like Royals baseball offensively quite yet.
Well, they're second in the league behind Houston in steals with 100 overall. But you know, you're right. It's a contact hitting team that Ned has. They put the ball in play, and it makes sense sometimes when they're sputtering and you're not all hitting on all cylinders, that you would mix in a hit and run once in a while. I agree with that.
And if Rusty Kuntz and Ned Yost say that the opportunities aren't there, I'm going to go with their opinion over mine. And yet, at this time last year, and the Royals were in a different position, at this point last year, they were still on the outside looking in. But they were a terror on the bases. I mean, they had the opponent's head spinning when they were getting on base. And the Royals have hit a lot of home runs this month. They have hit, if you include the 2 home runs a night, they've hit 35 home runs in September. That's 11 more than any other month. And they're scoring runs. So you can look at that from that angle, but the question becomes, what is going to get the Royals deeper into the postseason? Waiting and relying on home runs, or moving runners, going first to third, stealing, hitting and running? Because that's what they did last year in the postseason, in addition to hitting some home runs.
Yeah, but the home runs get shut down by good pitching in postseason. So the Royals want to keep their style of manufacturing runs, playing small ball, and doing those things that you're talking about. And that's the one specialty the Royals have offensively, that whenever you get some starting aces pitching against you, you can pitch under home run bats. That's why Toronto, even though they got so many guys that are threats in their lineup, they can be pitched to, but you really have to pitch under their bats to beat them.
And the big advantage that they're going to have is when they're home, they can close the roof. When they're on the road, they could, I mean, in the championship series, they could be at Kauffman Stadium. It could be 51 degrees with the wind blowing in, and they've got turtlenecks on and heavy gloves. Now let's see you hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Right.
Moustakas slides and the ball comes out of his glove. So base hit for Holt, his second hit of the game.
Yeah, Moose has guarded the line for no doubles. Had it and lost it on contact with the ground. Good try.
Remember 2005 when the White Sox won the World Series? Yes. Tyler Saladino's going to run it first. They were playing the Houston Astros. And Houston, of course, has a retractable roof stadium like they do in Toronto, and can be very loud when the roof is closed, which it is quite a bit during the summer months. But I remember during the World Series, and I think it was the same in Arizona in 2001, and maybe Mike Swanson can text me, but I believe Major League Baseball, depending on the weather, can take over and say you don't need to have the roof closed. So they won't close it just because they want the home field advantage. And I remember Houston was not allowed to have their roof closed for some games in the World Series. Saladino steals second and now goes to third on the throwing error by Perez, and the tying run is at third with 2 down in the 8th inning.
Going to be a 8 stolen base by Saladino in the 4th error on the season for Salvi. Ball was a little bit short hop there. Zobrist, he took the throw in front of the bag. So he did all he could to try to keep it from going to the outfield. Sometimes that ball at that velocity is hard to pick up on a short hop.
High fastball. Flowers not able to catch up to it. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Flowers is dangerous. He's having a night tonight. But you know, you can blow fastballs by him up there, but make sure they're up higher at that velocity. I wouldn't give him any off-speed pitches.
Right by him, 100 miles an hour.
That power fastball of Herrera's, oh man, you can just rear back and fire and take your chances.
Right field, deep. Back goes Paulo Orlando, and it's over his head, and the game is tied. Well, why not? I mean, he blew 2 fastballs right by him, so he stayed with the pitch. And Tyler Flowers goes the other way, bounces it over the wall for a double, and the White Sox have tied the game in the bottom of the 8th.
4 for 4 makes him tonight perfect. Game tying double on a pitch that was a fastball, but it was out over the middle of the plate. And Paulo looked like he didn't take the best route to the ball. Always had some slice to it, and he misjudged it. So that's rare to see Paulo take a route like that.
And now a wild pitch that bounces all the way back to Salvador Perez. And that gets Flowers to third. Uri Garcia, who is running for Tyler Flowers. Boy, is that wind picked up. And at the wrong time for the Royals. And that had something to do with Paulo Orlando not getting to that ball the way he wanted to.
That's right. Windy ballparks like that, you know, it's a huge element, especially coming in late in the game when you haven't been out there the whole game. And here it was. And now Paulo, he goes to the spot he thinks the ball is going to be, but the wind pushed it, and to go on top of the slicing of the baseball. Well placed by Flowers. But if you're Herrera, you're going to get beat on your best pitch. You throw it, and he did.
Don't like the result with the double, but I like the approach. I mean, he had just absolutely blown 2 fastballs right by Flowers with the 2 previous pitches.
Flowers just knew it was coming. He just was having a hot night.
Eaton walks, and that gives Abreu the opportunity to put Chicago ahead.
Chamber tried a fastball up on this young man here, and he quickly deposited that, getting him 1 run closer.
And now ground ball to short. Escobar will throw out Abreu. That ends the inning with 2 outs and nobody on. The White Sox get a run. And it all started with an infield single.
earlier, and also about the way the offense has been going. And he pointed out, beyond just what other pitchers are doing, you look at last year, Dyson led the team in stolen bases with 36. He has 26 this year. He's not playing as much. Alcides Escobar had 31 last year. He has 15. His legs have not looked the same. Lorenzo Cain had 28 last year, 28 this year. But the difference is he's batting third with Eric Hosmer behind him. Kendrys Morales with over 100 RBIs behind him. They just haven't had the same type of guys in the right positions to be able to run, but maybe the hit and run is the way to go about it. He did agree with this. We're hitting a lot of home runs. We're striking out a lot. That is not the way the Royals typically win games.
Good point, Joel.
Just an observation.
Yeah.
Having watched how they have won the last 3 years.
That explains it.
Quintana in there in the 9th inning. 108 pitches. He has given up 3 runs, all on home runs. Gordon homered in the 3rd. And Moustakas with a man on, homered in the 6th. At one point, the Royals had a 3-1 lead. Chicago got a run in the 7th and a run in the 8th. In the air to left field. And the shortstop Ramirez goes way out to get it. And Sal is 2 for 4 tonight.
Continue to further talk on the steals. There's no Nori Aoki. Nori had bags last year. Gordon had some bags, but he got hurt and missed some time. So there's some reasons for the lack of steals, but
the Royals have not needed Jarrod Dyson as a pinch runner late in games as often as they did last year. I mean, how many times did, as fate would have it, Billy Butler would be leading off the 8th inning or the 9th inning, or get on with 1 out in the 8th or 9th inning, and here comes Dyson. I mean, that hardly happened at all with Dyson coming on as a pinch runner in the first half. I mean, that was really the formula last year. Alex is 1 for 3 with a home run. Dan Jennings, the former Nebraska Cornhusker, warms up alongside Nate Jones. Still 0-2. Did he go? Yes. And Alex elects not to run it out. 8 strikeouts for Quintana.
Well, that's part of selling the fact you didn't check swing. You're not admitting guilt there. When you take off running, you have no chance to get that call.
DraftKings and the players to watch tonight. Alex Rios with a .417 career average against Quintana when the game started on the list. He will not get a 4th at bat against Quintana tonight, as Jarrod Dyson came into the game in center field in the 7th inning. So did Paulo Orlando. Dyson took Rios' spot in the order. Rios was 0 for 3 tonight.
What a job by Quintana. And he's pitched like this almost every time he's faced the Royals. Now, he hasn't gone into the 9th inning very many times, but he's always battled and just fallen short. 12 of the 17 games between these two teams have been decided by 3 runs or less, including 6 one-run affairs, and the White Sox are 1-5 in those.
Pop up, and we'll head to the bottom of the 9th inning. Quintana finishes strong, retiring the last 8 Royals. Edinson Volquez went 6. He gave up 1 run. Luke Hochevar went the 7th. He allowed a run. Herrera the 8th. He allowed a run. So we're tied up in the bottom of the 9th with Melky Cabrera, Trayce Thompson, and Alexei Ramirez coming up. And it feels like the temperature has dropped about 10 degrees in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, that wind's picked up.
Melky Cabrera has singled twice. He is 2 for 4 tonight. Fastball is low for ball 1. Morales had a stretch of about a week where he didn't pitch. And in his 2 starts since then, or his 2 appearances since then, he's given up 3 earned runs in just 1/3 of an inning. 1/3 of an inning combined. 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned runs, and over a little longer stretch in his last 7 appearances, he's allowed 9 earned runs. Thank goodness for the wind. The ball is carrying out to right field, and we saw on the double by Flowers to right, which resulted in a ground rule double, but it's a crosswind in the left, and that helped out the Royals.
Sure did. Morales fastball, slider, occasional curve. That ball was on the inner half. He hit it off the end of his bat. And it's almost impossible to go a whole season without giving up any runs. I mean, you know, Morales has done a great job in this team. I don't know where they'd be without him. His numbers against righties and lefties have been really good. And, you know, this period of time here, he's found a little bit too much in the middle of the plate.
Moustakas cutting in front of Escobar, and the ball is off of his glove, and Thompson is on with 1 out. That'll be a base hit.
You want your third baseman to come get everything. Just ball just stayed under his glove. Thompson runs well, that's why they gave him a base hit.
Fastball for a strike to Alexei Ramirez. He is 1 for 4. Hosmer had to lunge to save an error.
Thompson looked like he read the move. He's heading back to the bag.
One and one. And now 2-1 on Ramirez. I remember when Chris Getz was playing for the Royals, and before coming to the Royals, he played here. And he said between every batter, at least inning to inning, but sometimes between every batter, you had to check the flags. That's how much the wind swirls and changes in this ballpark. And it is really whipping around now. Whereas, you know, in most ballparks, you look at the flags and you can pretty much count on, okay, this is what the wind is going to do at the ball for several innings, but not in here. Wind comes in one direction, it starts swirling around, it might go out in a different direction, and a few batters later you look up at the flags and they're pointed the other way. Check swing back to Morales, out at second, double play, and the Royals send the game to the 10th inning.
Oh, that was nice.
Jack Link's beef jerky. Feed your wild side. 3-3 tie. The Royals had a 3-1 lead getting into the back end of the bullpen. But tonight, the White Sox got a run in the 7th inning. That was off of Luke Hochevar. Then a run in the 8th against Kelvin Herrera. And now into the 10th in a 3-3 tie. The White Sox will send their closer, David Robertson, to the mound. He saved last night's game, getting the Royals 3 up, 3 down. And in the 10th inning tonight, the Royals have the top of the order: Alcides Escobar, Ben Zobrist, and Lorenzo Cain.
Robertson has given up 6 home runs, so you can take him deep. His fastball's pretty straight, and he's not overly powerful. He's going 88 to 95. He doesn't have any upper 90s, but he's got a nice overhand curve that he'll work in, along with the changeup.
Escobar does not have a hit tonight, but he has reached on an error twice in the 5th inning by the then third baseman Mike Holt, and then in the 7th inning on what was ruled an error by the shortstop Ramirez, but it really looked like a hit. I'm not saying, but sometimes the official score will rule a borderline play an error to protect the pitcher's ERA. Just saying.
Oh, you might be right.
Not our official scores, but some official scores. 2 balls and 1 strike. Royals open this road trip with an extra innings loss on the north side of Chicago Monday night in 11 innings. Chris DeNorfia homered on the first pitch in the bottom of the 11th for Miguel Almonte to win the game 1-0. Tonight is the 12th game for the Royals in Chicago, White Sox and Cubs combined, and it's the 5th game of the 12 where the Royals have gone extra innings. And the White Sox, who are 9 games under 500, they've been outstanding in extra inning games. Escobar went around and elects not to run.
Well, if you know that you swung and it's a ball that gets away from the catcher, you've got to go to first base and make the catcher throw. Because how many times do you see a catcher sometimes throw the ball off the mark, or the ball goes down the line on an error, and then you've got absolutely no chance.
Now Ben Zobrist. And I get back to the comment that I made an inning ago. It just feels like the Royals' identity of and even if it's just running out a ball in the dirt on a strikeout, their identity on offense of just putting as much pressure on the defense as possible has escaped them in September. A lot of home runs, and they're scoring runs. Don't get me wrong. It's not a complete failure on offense, but it just doesn't seem to be the Royals' way of doing things on offense. It's kind of just a lot of big swings, and as a result the Royals are hitting home runs. They hit 2 more tonight. They hit 2 last night, and a lot of strikeouts. That's not the Royals' way. Putting the ball in play, making the defense make plays, using their legs. That's part of the 10-17 in September.
I agree, but the Royals are in uncharted territory. They've never had a lead like this before. So when they banked all those wins, Ned kind of shut down batting practice, for 2 or 3 weeks in August, and they kind of took them out of their rhythm. So this is all new for them. Now Ned understands you can't just flip a switch on and say, "Hey, here we go," but it just doesn't seem like there's a sense of urgency to win a game. Just doing the little things.
I don't think there's ever a lack of urgency when it comes to Johnny Gomes.
There you go.
Ben Zobrist. Maybe that'll get the Royals going here in the 10th inning. Zobrist, with that base hit, puts an end to a long drought. He was 0 for 4 tonight and 0 for his last 16.
Like he stayed on the changeup. Got out in front, just kept his hands back and was able to drop it out there in right field. Good hit, good start.
Paulo Orlando hits for the first time. Ed Yost put Gerard Dyson and Paulo Orlando in defensively in the same inning in the 7th, but he did not make a straight up switch. He put Dyson in Rios' spot, and he put Orlando in Kane's spot, and that's because of Paulo Orlando's power and his clutch hitting for much of this year, thinking that somebody would be on base if he was hitting in the 3rd position.
Robertson, he's mixing in some cutters. His last 2 pitches were cutters in the low 90s. Haven't seen the mid 90s fastball yet from him. but he blew those two right by Paulo.
Good numbers against his original organization. Signed him out of Brazil. Still 1-2. Strikes. Royals have struck out 10 times tonight. Royals have hit 2 home runs tonight. So they've hit 35 home runs in September. That's 11 more than any other month. They have also struck out 211 times this month, and that is 55 more times than any other month.
Yeah, it's an alarming rate. And every playoff team that's in the playoffs at this particular point are all here watching.
As far as scouts go.
Yeah, scouts. They're all scouting. They're checking it out. They're able to see what's working against the Royals and what's not working. I got a feeling as the rest of the season progresses and into the postseason, the Royals are going to see their share of fastballs. Although every pitcher has to establish that at some point. But they'll be executing their secondary pitches a lot more.
Blasted to right field. It is gone. Well, we'll take the home run here. Eric Hosmer homers for the second time in this series. That is number 18. And the Royals lead 5-3 in the 10th inning.
You know, and he top spin that ball out of here. You don't see too many home runs hit in Major League parks that have topspin on them, but this one did. It was a rocket. You could see Robertson, his expression at the mound. He knew he might have gotten him, and he was praying that topspin would at least stay in the ballpark. What a clutch homer that was. 18th.
Now Morales hits it hard to Abreu. Down to the bag. With one out, Zobrist singles. He had been 0 for 16. With 2 outs, Hosmer homers. 5-3 KC. They've hit 3 home runs tonight. They have struck out 10 times. But Eric Hosmer has homered for a second straight game in this series. And his 10th inning wind-cutting line drive puts the Royals in front 5-3 and puts the ball in Wade Davis's right hand.
And that is a beautiful thing. That was a blue darter out of the yard. I mean, that ball left in probably 3 seconds. There you go, Waiter. Bring it home. Opponents only hitting 149 at ERA under 1. That's incredible.
And Davis will get AVISAIL Garcia, really slumping at the moment. Carlos Sanchez and Tyler Saladino. How many times, Hud, do you say over the course of the season, if whomever had gotten underneath that ball by a fraction of an inch, he would have hit it out of the ballpark? Well, tonight, it's probably a good thing that Hosmer didn't hit a high fly ball to right field. I mean, maybe he hit that ball hard enough where no matter what, it was going to go out, but it sliced to right, and Paulo was there to make the catch. The wind being what it is probably a good thing that he kept it low and under the wind.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You can't control it, but let's check it out again. It's a fastball up, and that means danger for Hosmer. Hosmer loves it. Now, normally he'll take that ball in the opposite field. Look at Robertson. He knew. He'll go the opposite field with high fastballs like that, but he was able to get around it. And I don't know what's going on with Robertson, but he didn't throw one fastball over 95, so he was in the low 90s, and Haas was able to get around on that high fastball. So there wasn't enough hair on the pitch. There wasn't enough velocity to keep Hosmer from pulling it.
Sanchez is 0 for 4.
If that pitch was thrown harder by Robertson, Haas would have went to the opposite field with that.
Boy, how about the bite on that curveball? And it wasn't a strike, but my goodness.
Yeah, that wind blowing like that, you know, that ball has seams on it, and it picks up the air pocket. Does a lot more dancing. It's cutter in the low 90s. Should have a little bit more break to it as well.
Get the other way, and that's into the crosswind, and Alex really had to fight the wind, and he makes a play, 2 down. And up comes Tyler Saladino for the first time. He ran for Mike Olt in the 8th inning and scored the tying run. Third ball just a little bit low.
Got the big curve, the cutter, and the fastball. That 4-seamer at 97. Good velocity.
Royals had 7 consecutive winning months going back to last year. That was the longest stretch in the American League. That comes to an end here in September. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Had a chance to finish strong and set up for the final 4 games of the regular season. Tomorrow night here, and then 3 in Minnesota. And Minnesota's still going to be playing for something. Saladino strikes out, and the game is over. Eric Hosmer homering in consecutive games. His 18th tonight. He has over 90 RBIs, adding to his career high, 91 on the year. And the Royals win in 10 innings, 5-3.
Waiter, check, please. Excellent job. Haas set him up. He was ready to go, nice and hot in that pin. And he finishes those guys off now. 15th save on the season.
36 home runs for the Royals in the month of September. That is 12 more than any other month.
Hosmer the hero on a ball that was up and away. Robertson, he was shocked that Haas could get around on it, but man, he's dangerous. Eric Hosmer, especially on high fastballs. Everybody's ducking for cover out there in that bullpen. You can't blame them. You don't want to get hit by that liner.
And Haas is standing by with Joel.
Well, chance to visit with Eric Hosmer. We are in agreement right now that it's too cold for water, so hopefully Salvi will stay away. Most importantly, we're talking about that because it's a win. How absolutely important was this one for you guys tonight, especially leading late and then having to come back?
It was really important. You know, it's time's winding down in the regular season, and as a team, it's a good time to start getting hot heading into the postseason. So it was a big win for us.
What are you looking for at that point from David Robertson? He's had your number over the years. This was his 25th game against the Royals in his career, and he'd only ever allowed one run.
Yeah, well, he's got a little bit.
He said it's too cold today. Easy for him to say. I think that was the blue Gatorade. Okay, so what are you looking for from Robertson?
Well, he's he's got a good cutter, and his ball really gets on you pretty fast. So you're just trying to get it going early and not be late. And it was just cutter middle in, got it going good, put a good swing on it, worked out for us.
18 home runs for you this year. 11 of them have either tied the game or given you the lead. Is there something about those kind of situations that you're able to relax or get comfortable in?
You just try and step up for your teammates. Zoe did a good job. He's been battling all night, and to get on there and start the inning off was big for us. And you get him on base, you try and score him as quick as we can, and just worked out good for the boys. It was a good swing.
Final thing, what's it going to take in your mind just to kind of get going in the right direction and to start peaking heading into the playoffs?
We got to finish up strong here tomorrow, and heading into Minnesota, I think it's going to be a good atmosphere. It's going to be a playoff-type atmosphere for us. So, I don't think that's any other way we can end the season. It would be better for us. So, head into Minnesota, they're fighting for their lives over there, and it's going to have a lot of playoff-like type situations. It's going to have that feel.
You owe Salvi a cup of Gatorade on a cold night. Great job tonight.
Thanks, Joel. Appreciate it.
Eric Hosmer, the very clutch home run to rescue the Royals and give them that win. And the Royals fans that are here saluting him. We go back upstairs to Ryan and Hud.
All right, Joel, and with that win, the Royals have clinched at least the second seed in the first round of the playoffs. They will be home. Royals win at 5-3. We'll be right back.